So let's look at one example of the magnetic force on a current carrying conductor. I'm going to turn this animation on just so that you and then try to explain what's going on here. When you watch the electron flow in one direction, you will see that the magnetic field is going to stay constant throughout this entire demonstration, but I'm going to change the direction of the current and you'll see what happens to the force. So you have to picture current moving through this conductor at a fairly good speed, and then what will happen is you'll create a force that'll cause this conductor to either rise or fall in that magnetic field. So when you watch this first case, it's going down and up, and I'll just let it run for a second or two before I stop it, but you can see I'm orientating my hand to match the direction of the electron flow. And in the first case down here, you can see that the electrons are moving from right to left. That's what my thumb is pointing in. The magnetic field is always going from north to south. That doesn't change. But when the current moves from right to left, then you can see that the force causes that wire to move up. Now, providing it's a very light wire, you would see this happen. You would experience this force. If it was a really heavy wire, well, then it just doesn't move. In another case, when it starts to come back down, you can see that when I switch the direction of the current, now that it's moving from left to right, you can see that the force is going to push that conductor down. And this actually happens when you're running current through high voltage lines, for example. You can actually see not the sagging of the lines, because that's just due to gravity, but you can see that they could actually move in towards each other or away from each other if they were running in direct current. Now, what tends to happen with high voltage lines is they're alternating current, and I don't want to get into alternating current because it's not part of this course, but that has current going in both directions. Because there isn't a lot of current, it's just high voltage, low current, you don't see a lot of movement on those wires. It's not like those wires are bouncing around all over the place. But even with the little bits of current that is there, there's a little bit of a bend in those wires due to it. If you had some really thick cables that was moving a lot of current, you could cause enough force to either attract or repel those wires. And it's used in a lot of principles, which you'll see in some of the videos you'll be watching throughout the next couple of lessons. So again, I'll just let it run for a second so you can see what would happen. As the current moves through, you would experience a force on that conductor that would either move it up or down depending on the direction of the electron flow. Note my fingers are always pointing from north to south in this case. My thumb is always pointing in the direction of the current, and out of the palm will be the force. So this will happen on a current carrying conductor. We could even take the conductor away and look at the individual charged particles, and they will have the similar force acting on them as well.